Imagine a company so powerful that it didn't just trade goods, it ruled an entire subcontinent. A company that started with merchants and ended with monarchs bowing to its influence. That was the East India Company, not just a business, but an empire in itself. In the early 1600s, England was hungry for trade. The world had discovered the riches of Asia: spices, silks, tea, and cotton. To join the race, a group of English merchants formed the East India Company in 1600, backed by Queen Elizabeth I. They were granted a royal charter, giving them the exclusive right to trade with the East Indies. It was just a trading company on paper, but soon it would become something far greater. At first, the company faced fierce competition. The Dutch and the Portuguese were already dominating Asian trade. But the British had something else: patience, cunning, and a vision for power. They set up trading posts along the Indian coast: Surat, Madras, Bombay, and Calcutta, slowly weaving themselves into the economic fabric of India. The Mughal Empire, ruling India at that time, was incredibly powerful. The East India Company knew they couldn't conquer by force, so they conquered through commerce. They traded, gifted, bribed, and built alliances with local rulers. Over time, the Mughal Empire weakened, and the company saw its chance. In 1757 came the turning point, the Battle of Plassey. The company, led by Robert Clive, defeated the Nawab of Bengal, Siraj-ud-Dawla, using a mix of military strategy and political betrayal. This victory didn't just give them Bengal, it gave them access to India's wealth, its resources, its taxes, and its people. From traders, they had become rulers. Soon, the company was minting its own coins, collecting revenue, maintaining an army, and controlling vast territories. Imagine that! A private company with its own army of over 260,000 soldiers, more than even the British Crown had at the time. It was no longer the East India Company. It was the British Empire in disguise. But with great power came greed. The company drained India's resources, exploiting farmers and destroying local industries. Famine spread as they forced farmers to grow cash crops like indigo and opium instead of food. The wealth of India flowed to Britain, while millions in India suffered. By the early 1800s, the East India Company controlled almost all of India. British officials ruled from Calcutta, and Indian princes became puppets under company supervision. The British Parliament back home began to notice this company was too powerful. It was a state within a state. The corruption and exploitation eventually led to a rebellion. In 1857, Indian soldiers, known as sepoys, rose up in what became known as the First War of Independence. The revolt spread across northern India. The company fought back brutally, but the rebellion changed everything. After crushing the revolt, the British government decided the company could no longer be trusted to rule. In 1858, the British Crown took direct control of India. Queen Victoria became the Empress of India, and the East India Company, the most powerful corporation the world had ever seen, was dissolved. But its legacy remained. The railways, the bureaucracy, the English education system, all were born during company rule. Yet so was exploitation, inequality, and the loss of India's sovereignty. The story of the East India Company is not just about trade or colonization. It's a story about how greed, ambition, and politics can turn a business into an empire, and how that empire can shape the destiny of millions. A company that began with a charter from a queen ended by creating an empire for one. The East India Company, a reminder that sometimes the line between commerce and conquest can disappear entirely.